Uh, Warm welcome to all the members and to the second anniversary of Anthropological Association for Humankind. I'm Dr. Pedrattaya Gadde, General Secretary of this organization. Now I request our President, Professor V. Narayan Reddy Garu, to share his message on this occasion.
First, let me thank and express my gratitude to each and every member to support us the entire year for the various activities. And it is my honor, my great honor on my part to express my thanks because it is today is a very important day. It is we are celebrating the second anniversary of the AAH. And in fact, it is the day to be celebrated with you, each and everybody of the members. But anyway, for the shortage of time and other things, we could not get many people. But as a presidential president of this AAH, I am extending my warm greetings to advisory committee and executive committee and all other committee members who supported us for the entire year for various activities. In fact, Anthropological Association for Humankind came into existence to engage with the contemporary issues and challenges through a dialogue between academic scholarship, applied practice, and intervention in the public sphere in order to make the world a safer place for human differences. AAH spreads the anthropological applications to unleash and harness the human potential to inspire excellence, solve real world problems, and help humans what they are capable of becoming for making a positive difference in the world. AAH explores the compelling ways how anthropological knowledge, skills, and methodologies can be put to work in addressing human biological, social, culture, and economic, health, and climate, moral, intellectual, emotional, and emerging new technological problems. It focuses on anthropological applied domains, including global health, medicine, nutrition, human genetics, development, agriculture, environment, population, displacement, and resettlement, business and industry, education and aging, engineering, architecture, designing, and addressing poverty, suffering, corruption, addiction, suicides, crimes, human crisis, and depravity, and every sphere of human life with an intention to improve the human condition. AAH is a global platform for both academic and applied anthropologists and applied social and applied natural sciences to harness the huge human potential to address the contemporary issues in order to improve the human conditions. Therefore, as the president of the Anthropological Association for Humankind, I am very glad to invite to the national and international professionals, like-minded scholars and associations and institutions and research foundations join us and looking forward to working with the different governments and NGOs and INGOs, multilateral institutions in fulfilling the vision and mission of the AAH. In this context, I take this opportunity to express very warm welcome and very warm regards to particularly the US team, Professor Ravindranath Garu, Professor Professor Arya, Professor Bhatt, and the other important functionaries who are working very hard to make it success, an international conference that is going to be held in the last week of May at University of Kansas. It is really a proud and honor to the organization, which has started just 1 year back, already conducted one national seminar in India and to be conducted at international conference at US. It is a great thing, really, very successful achievement. I join each and everybody to congratulate you, particularly my General Secretary, who is very dynamic and who is doing very much hard work in making this organization a highly successful one. And at international level, many people now they are looking at our organization, what this organization can do to solve the human problems at a length. I am very happy today that we are celebrating the second anniversary, and once again I extend my warm greetings and my gratitude and thanks to each and every member of the organization to extend their cooperation, help, and other things in making the first year period as a successful one. And I hope all the members, particularly Professor Raiji, he has done a wonderful work and he is supporting us like anything. He's a senior man and a very constructive sessions he is giving from time to time. And we are very grateful to you, sir, particularly for your wonderful contribution to this organization. So I thank each and everybody, and we hope and we please extend all your cooperation in the next year also and make the international conference that is going to be held at US a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, dear President, for sharing your message and the vision of this organization. And now I take this opportunity to introduce the mission objectives of this organization and also the team, the governing council members and the advisory council members. And after that, the activities that we have been doing briefly. So yeah, let me share the screen so that everybody can look at it. Yeah, first of all, I want to introduce the mission objectives of this organization, Anthropological Association for Humankind. So what are the key objectives that we want to achieve? The first objective is to promote anthropology as a professional discipline grounded in the systematic pursuit of knowledge of human nature. To promote anthropology as a professional discipline grounded in the systematic pursuit of knowledge of human nature, cultures, and societies, and its responsible use to solve real world problems. The second objective of our mission is to establish the International Institute of Anthropological Applications to promote the anthropological research and training, to engage with the contemporary issues and challenges, to address issues of applied value, to adopting new and relevant methodologies pertinent for better deliverance and governance, and to equip students, scholars, and help them acquire the job-oriented and life-oriented competencies to become successful and contributing members of society. To provide anthropological knowledge, methods, insights, and applications to assist governments, multilateral institutions, private and third sectors in policy formulation, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. The fourth objective of our mission is to undertake these social impact assessment studies, provide feedback, social analysis, and train the personnel in cross-cultural competencies in order to promote highly productive, cooperative, respectful, and responsible workspaces, facilitate peaceful social coexistence, assist international development in the emerging pluralistic societies, in the face of new and emerging technologies and ongoing processes of globalization. The fifth objective is to publish the International Journal of Anthropological Applications to document the different worldwide successful case studies of how innovative anthropological methodologies, understandings, and applications made positive difference for humankind. To bring out AAfH newsletter for circulation of happenings in the Anthropological Association for Humankind, to provide the governments and private managements enough evidence of high anthropological utility in every sphere of human life and pursue them to include the discipline of anthropology in both the college and the university education, as well as to include anthropology as qualifying discipline for the job recruiters. The seventh objective is to excel in the nation building process by utilizing the anthropological knowledge and applications to do effective and efficient education, which include training the kids, youth in character and intelligence to equip them become both smart and good citizens. The eighth objective is to promote anthropology of morality and ethics, as well as moral, ethical development, applied public anthropology, and professionalize the discipline of anthropology by revisiting the courses, content, and to incorporate academic elements of contemporary regional relevance and global practice. The ninth objective is to undertake ethnographic studies on the contemporary socio-economic issues plaguing the society at large and marginalized communities in particular. Focus on the focus on the most ignored nomadic and semi-nomadic and such other downtrodden and the marginalized people groups to help them secure dignity, justice, and the benefits of development and the quality life. The 10th objective of our mission is to organize annual national conferences in the name of Anthropology for India, whereas the international conferences in the name of Anthropology for Humankind, once in 2 years, to promote professional dialogues, new departures in theories, new theoretical departures, understandings, and findings in anthropology, and learn from the success stories of how the anthropological applications could provide solutions to various pressing issues worldwide, help improve human condition. The final objective of our organization is to maintain close contacts and network with the relevant associations nationally and internationally, and reinforce anthropological subdisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary and international exchanges of applied orientation to update and promote anthropological knowledge in order to render holistic services to humankind. So these are the primary objectives of our organization. And also let me introduce, as our president, Professor V. Narayan Reddy Garu already mentioned, there are some international global scholars and professors and who are part of our governing council and advisory council. So yeah, this is Professor V. Narayan Reddy Garu is our president, and Dr. Ananda Gandikota is our vice president, and Dr. Bartholomew Crispin Dean is our vice president from USA, and Dr. Pedro Tegadi, it's me, General Secretary, and Professor Anil Kishore Sinha, sir, is a Joint Secretary of our organization. Um, uh, and Dr. Ramesh Devarakonda is a Joint Secretary of our organization. And Professor P.D. Satyapal Kumar is a Governing Council member. And Professor Ravindranath Dugirala from USA is a Governing Council member. Professor Ruma Purkait, Madam, she is our Governing Council member. And Dr. Anil V.B. Babu is our Governing Council member. And Dr. Uday Kumar Doroboina is also our Governing Council member. Dr. Rajkumar Katula and Dr. Praveen Hugar and Professor Barnabas Doroboy, Professor Barnabas Don Borno. Yeah, he's also our governing council member from Nigeria, and Professor Kiran Jairam is from USA. He's our governing council member. Professor Kari Nath is also our governing council member. Professor Lorena Madrigal is also from USA. She's our governing council member. And Professor Rector, he's Associate Professor Rector Arya, our governing council member. So these are the members of our governing council team, and this is the executive body and who makes the decisions and implement decision. So with the immense support of these governing council members, we are able to run this organization, and also with the powerful advisory council. God has given us a powerful advisory council to assist in implementing and evaluating our policies of this organization. Professor K.K. Mishra is our advisory member, and Professor P. Venkatrao Garu is our advisory member, and Professor A. Muniratnam Reddy Garu, Professor Anup Kumar Kapoor sir, and Professor Vijay S. Sahai, Professor A. Papa Rao Garu, and Professor Michael H. Crawford from USA, and Professor John Blangero from USA, and from Michael J. O'Brien is also from USA, and Professor N.K. Ambast is our advisory member, and Professor Subhadra Mitra Chenna, and Professor S. Gregory, and Professor P. Muniratnam Reddy Garu, and Professor Gangadharam Garu, and Professor P. Sudhakar Reddy Garu, and Professor S.M. Dr. S.M. Siraduddin sir, and Professor P.K. Baumik, and Dr. Sunita Reddy Garu, and Professor J.M. Naidu Garu, and Professor T.S. Naidu Garu, and Mr. Narottam Reddy Garu, and Dr. K. Raja Reddy Garu, and Professor Ajit Kumar Singh. All these valuable and most accomplished scholars and professors, and who had did seminal works in anthropology, and globally and nationally, they played a crucial role in advancing the anthropology and provided leadership at a high level capacity in separate different domains, and at national and international bodies. They are serving advisory members as an expert committees and parliamentary committees. All these experts who had highly accomplished backgrounds are serving on this advisory council of Anthropological Association for Humankind, with the immense and the strong support at different levels, and their wisdom, their network, their networking capacity, and with all their possible cooperation they're extending, and with their support, and the governing council is able to press forward to fulfill the objectives of this organization. This is the second anniversary that we are celebrating. On this occasion, we want to remember every advisory member who has amazing role to play in advancing the cause of this, in advancing the vision of this organization, and also every member of our governing council is really they're doing an excellent job. So with these collective efforts, we are able to fulfill some of our launch, if not fulfill, launch some of our objectives from vision to reality. In translating that vision into reality, this advisory council and the governing council is really playing amazing role. So periodically and frequently, we are conducting virtual meetings to take inputs from the advisory council and the governing council. So yeah, and also people from who is not in the advisory council and the governing council as well. We thank everyone who is silently supporting and really helping us in making advances in fulfilling reaching out our goals, weekly, monthly, yearly kind of goals. So yeah, this is the occasion we want to look back and see who are the members that made vital contribution in fulfilling our objectives of Anthropological Association for Humankind. So yeah, so in that process, we have undertaken some activities. For example, interview drive. So till now, we are able to finish 2 interviews. One is with Professor N.K. Ambassador. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time, and thank you for joining us and sharing your heart and experiences and pointing the younger generations towards future what exactly the anthropologists should take up in educational anthropology to make advances, that kind of suggestions. So we are going to come up with the publication of his book, his interview with which will have a high impact on education anthropology domain, particularly from Indian experience. So, and also another interview we have completed is with the Professor Vijay S. Sahai, sir. Due to his unwell, he's not well at this point, so otherwise he would have joined us. So yeah, and he's editing. Yeah, they editing his interview so that we are going to publish that also, and also we are able to start the International Institute of Anthropological Applications as a virtual institute through which we could offer training courses little by little on incremental basis. So the first training course was offered by Professor S.B. Roy, sir, the founder chairman of IBRAD. So now he is here, and I want to thank him for voluntarily and not charging anything, offering his valuable time and expertise and training the young people, young anthropologists in digital ethnography for sustainable tribal development. So I request him to share his experiences, how the course has took up and wider implications. And yeah, now I request Professor S.B. Roy, sir, to share his few thoughts. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar. Namaskar, Dr.
Nam-
Narayan Reddy,
Namaste, sir. Namaste.
Dr. Ambast. Namaskar, Dr. Ambast.
Namaskar, namaskar, sir, namaskar.
Namaskar, Dr. Gade. I feel myself very honored and humbled. I don't deserve so much of words of appreciation what Professor Gade mentioned. Uh, let me tell very honestly, I have not been working in the field of anthropology, neither in teaching nor in anthropology. I'm using some of the anthropological theory which are biological and also social. So biosocial research and development. I'm more of a practitioner in the sense understanding the problem of the people in their natural environment. And that is what any ethnographer mentioned, study of the people, culture in their natural environment. This is what I have been doing. And then ethnographer confined to study. What I do during study, whatever problem you find people are sharing, how to intervene, build capacity of the people so that they will solve their problem. So this is in fact not an anthropological domain. Anthropologists normally study. But my purpose is to involve people in identifying the problem. For example, these days, the climate change has been the severe problem ever human faced. Even the World Health Organization mentions that climate change has been severe. This is a general concept. Now, many people are writing paper on that. What I do, I sit with the people with the village, discuss with them whether there has been changes in their village, environment, and weather. So they make a list. Yes, water depleting, loss of biodiversity, livestock number has reduced, agriculture crop had debated, we have a severe temperature, we have erratic rainfall, sometimes it is a drought, sometimes it's a flood. So when they share all those things, then I discuss with them to solve it. And then I involve the local forest officer or any other people to work with them for solving it. So normally anthropologists, they don't do it. So that is why I'm not in the domain. I have been teaching project management in IIT Kharagpur. I've been teaching in Manchester and many other universities, Wales, Indonesia. I was teaching in China also. You'll be very surprised to know China through interpreter. They're also involving the villagers in China to identify the problem and what kind of solution will be there. It is more of the project management kind of thing. So this is what I have been doing. And I am not in a bond to join any profession because there is an agreement with IBRAD. So I cannot join any other society. And it has become, that is why even United States, they wanted to have the governing board from the beginning. So I asked, no, sorry, I cannot. I can talk, I can discuss. And this is how I'm trying to discuss with Professor Gade wherever, whichever form it is possible, and extend my, I don't know what to extend. I don't have anything to extend, just the moral support. And I'm very happy that in 2 years only, this AAH has developed so much and had 2 international conferences. And you have very dignified, important, famous, globally famous people are around you and in the member in the governing board. So I wish all the success for the team, chairman, And I can see Professor Siddha is there. Dr. Abbas. Thank you very much. I wish all the success. Thank you.
Sir, I request you to share your experience with the digital ethnography and tribal for sustainable development, how
okay,
this took
okay.
scaled up.
All right.
Yeah.
It was during Corona period when there was a lockdown everywhere. The Ministry of Tribal Affairs and the Facebook, Ministry of Tribal Affairs and the Facebook jointly launched a program, GOAL, Going Online Leaders in Action, GOAL. So somehow they contacted me if I can help in connecting tribal through a smartphone. And through the experiment, whichever the village had a smartphone, I connected with them, talked to them, and how to establish rapport. And then I told them, why don't you move with your phone and show me the pond, the water, the river, the climate, the livestock. And it was very interesting. They took the phone and showed me here and there. Then the idea came, oh my God, from here I can see the people, their material culture, their landscape and nature. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. This is how ethnographers study the people in the culture. Then I told, okay, what are the issues you are discussing these days for? Then they say we have loss of biodiversity, there's a fish problem, the cattle are not getting grasses, the forest department does not come in time. So I said, okay, what can be done? So I use participatory action research through smartphone. And it clicked. And then they sent me photograph. And then I sent them suggestion, why don't you do this? And they did it. And then they sent a photograph. What is the improvement after our meeting? So this is how the ministry was surprised. How anthropologists sitting in Kolkata is talking to the villagers and also discussing their problem and conducting training. So they wanted me, why not to adopt some village and have a baseline study and then intervention. This is how I started, and Dr. Gade contacted me, why not we do this kind of study? I said, no, it's not a study. With this study, there will be problem solving and sequence of meeting, not one. Then only we will do that. So this is how we develop some module, module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, and it clicked. By time Ministry of Environment and Forest, they experienced it and they saw our document and they wanted, why don't you train our forest officer online? So I started teaching forest officer and the tribal together, and it became a very good group. So they issued letter that this should be a model for forest officer and minister. So this is how this digital ethnography, and then with a series of 1 hour, 2 hour session we had with Professor Gade with AAH, and we had another group of digital ethnography in action. So that was very interesting, and still I see people watch on the YouTube is a contribution in the excitement. And today I must tell, there was a meeting with the 4-5 ministry where the Prime Minister has opening a meeting, and I had to share my steps, and the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, they have accepted all these steps and made a note for digital technology ethnography for reaching the farthest community, for they use the word online monitoring and development for the real life study. So that was the sentence they have used today, and it is going to be recommended. And in today's meeting, there were 5 anthropologists. There were 17 experts for the 4 ministry. I don't know how they have identified me. So there were 17 national level experts of 17 national experts, 4 were from anthropology. I mentioned Dr. K.K. Mishra, Sachidanand, Dr. Ota, Sarit Chaudhary, Dr. Sarit Chaudhary. And yes, and at the end, for 5 minutes, Professor Vijay Kumar Sahai also shared. Yeah, today.
Yeah.
So Vijay Kumar
Yes,
can
sir.
share his
Sir,
experience.
may I make a small point here?
Yeah,
The
please.
methodology, although you use the digital technology or digital connect, but the methodology that you have used was action research, identifying the problem, solving the problem, trying to solve the problem, see where it works, where it fails, correcting it, and then going again and again. So in our terminology of anthropological research, we have action research, which is, of course, action research is in many fields like army, military, everywhere there it is there. So I must comment that this is the, in today's world, action research is the only way of implementing or conceiving of a developmental activity, seeing where it is working, where it is not working, why it is not working, correcting, and then again re-implementing until the goal is achieved.
That's right.
So that was that, sir. Thank you very much for. I am really beholden to you for your kind intervention and adoption of a scientific model of action research. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I must tell, since I'm a student of anthropology, I don't teach anthropology. I have never been professor of anthropology. I have been professor of the IT or the human resource, HR. What I wanted to share here, anthropology has a big scope, is a very good subject. And what Sir Dr. Ambas mentioned, participatory action research or action research is the game changer with digital ethnography, because unless any discipline, geography, economics, anthropology, sociology, unless they demonstrate the benefit from the subject, world is not going to value you. So we have to demonstrate how our discipline can show the benefit to the community. And that is very, very important. I'll just share one thing and then I have to leave. See, while teaching in IIT Kharagpur for management student, there is one paper, organizational behavior, organizational culture. 100 marks of organizational culture and 6 months study on the organizational culture, how to identify the cultural issue, improve upon, set a common goal of organization. And I tell you, they teach all those things, but Professor Sinha, Dr. Ambas, you must see there is hardly any anthropologist teaching 100 marks of culture, 100 marks of organizational behavior, the way it is taught in the MBA. And I'm very happy you have raised it, Dr. Ambas, that they are doing action research, implementation.
Yeah.
So your knowledge should implement. The people pay. So implementation is very challenging. But since anthropologists are not in this line, so anthropologists do not consider me anthropologist. but I consider myself as a student of anthropology. I learned. I'm not a professor of anthropology. I'm a student of anthropology. When I work with the people, I use Malinowski theory for meeting the physiological need first. And then what Radcliffe Brown say, that in that village, what kind of institutions are there beyond physiological need? And then Tyler, what kind of culture is there? And Durkheim, the structure and functionalism. So all these things are interconnected in the process which is taught by management people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we should do it. I'm sure Dr. Gade, Dr. Narayan Reddy, Sinha Saab, and Ambast will be for applied anthropology. You will certainly see how all those theory, but you have to remember all the theory, and then the organization, how Dr. Raymond Firth mentioned that in society there, how the Leach has mentioned about the political institutions. So all these things are taught by non-anthropologists for the management, and they remember each theory. So we have to improve it. Thank you. I'll take leave. Thank you very much for the opportunity and the honor. I'm sure on 10th or 11th, some of you are coming. Let us see how do we do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor S.B. Roy, sir, for sharing your valuable time and also experiences how the digital ethnography and that for sustainable tribal development, how this course was started in International Institute of Anthropological Applications as a first course. So, and how it is scaled up throughout the country in collaboration with the central government, particularly with the Department of Tribal Affairs and also the forest and officers and administrators and Niti Aayog and all these things. This is very interesting. This gives us, even though you are not teaching anthropology in university,
no, I'm not teaching anthropology.
You are a practitioner. You are a practitioner.
I'm not teaching anthropology.
But you are a practitioner, applied anthropologist.
Yeah, I'm a practitioner. Like a scientist is there, and the mechanic is fixing the nut and bolt. So I'm a mechanic, fixing nut and bolt. not scientists. Yeah.
Making positive difference in the lives of the tribals and who are being
I'm
ignored
fixing
for
nut
many
and bolt
years.
and wrench and tight it. Yeah, like this. Tomorrow I have got this for Society for Applied Anthropology, their international conference. Tomorrow they are recording my lecture.
That's wonderful.
For their World Congress. Since I'm not going, so
you are sending the recorded message.
Digital ethnography, tribal development. They wanted to tell theory and outcome. Now the outcome has to be very clear. What did you do, and from the baseline, and how do you verify outcome? And that outcome should be measurable, quantifiable. And that is the challenge. Okay.
That's very encouraging. How it is nationally recognized, this course, and how it is internationally you are making to knowledge contribution. That's very impressive, and thank you for your input, sir. And after that,
I'll give one more information. One state government university in West Bengal, SKBU, Sidhu Kanu Birsa University. Just 2 days back, there was a INCA Congress where Professor Joshi, Basa, and all had come over there. Professor Deepak Behra, all were there. They have started 1 year PG diploma course on sustainable tribal development management.
wow.
So 1 year PG diploma course, and I'm the coordinator, and the whole teaching process is done in abroad. One batch is completed, the second batch has taken admission. So there, of course, anthropological theory, but at what Professor Ambast mentioned is an action research, more of demonstrating the improvement. Unless
Yeah.
you demonstrate improvement, you study, then you become pathologist to tell how much level, how well this, but what is the problem, disease? Who will give the solution? So we anthropologists should move beyond pathologists. That means beyond identification of the problem. We have to have a solution. Yeah. Okay.
That's wonderful.
Okay, namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Dr.
Thank you.
Gade, Dr. Gade,
Yes, sir.
if
Yes, sir.
permit me 5 minutes,
Yes, sir.
because Professor Roy has very, very eloquently demonstrated the use of action research. I want to give in 5 minutes the basic concept of action research and make you see that it is always in the process of every program, whether it is in any field. Actually, you will understand it very nicely that during the Second World War, when a bomb attack was planned, it was planned on a table. So much height, so much speed, so much altitude. At this point, you will drop, the air drag will be this, and the point where it has to hit will hit. So the sortie took place, and the result was measured. And if it was not on the point, that means there was something wrong. So people started investigating as to why it has not hit in spite of all these calculations. And then that rectification was made and another sortie was sent. So action research is, once you plan with all the socio-economic parameters, the constraints and all those things, and then you start a project or start a development and see whether the expected result is happening or not.
Yes,
If not,
yes.
then what are the factors?
Exactly.
Then what are the factors and what correction needs to be made? That is done, and then again it is implemented. So action research is a kind of a continuous process where you plan, you execute, you find out whether the expected result has come.
That's
If
right.
not,
Yeah.
then what correction needs to be made?
That's right. Yeah.
So in social anthropology are all these matters. You see, you establish a factory, you plan everything, whether it is giving you the product, if not, what went wrong, you make correction, then you again do it. So this is a kind of, I would say, I was teaching Sri Lankan people who had come to India, and I gave them a very detailed action research lecture and program. So in that connection, I not only I looked at anthropological methodologies, but I looked at various military operations and other things. So action research is a daily process. Even if you, in your case, suppose you want to go to in Hyderabad, you want to go to Nampally, and then you take a auto and it breaks down, you are not reaching the time, then what corrections you will make? You will take a taxi, you go. So this is the simplest way of explaining that action research is happening in every sphere of life. We plan, we execute, we achieve the result, or we fail, then we look why we failed and then make correction, and then we again repeat. So that's it. Thank you for giving me patient hearing.
Thank you, Professor.
Very important thing you have said, Dr. Ambast, that action is a problem solving, right? Identify the problem.
Yeah.
But you can solve the problem only when you can know the cause and effect analysis. And that is the science. And this science has to be known to the researcher.
Yeah.
If you can't solve the problem, if you can't just study and tell there's a problem. So if the villagers also know the problem, so what are you doing? So what you have rightly said, while identifying the problem, you facilitate for solution.
Yes.
And during facilitation, what knowledge you develop, new body of knowledge, it should emerge new body of knowledge with through intervention. Otherwise, not a research. You also have mentioned maybe whatever thought it has not worked. It has not worked. That is also a research.
That's right. Yeah.
That's also research. And advising people don't work like this. It is a waste of time. I have tried. It does not work. So what works, what does not work is very important for access research and developing new body. It's a cycle. You have very rightly mentioned about it. I think Professor Gade, Narayan Reddy, you can think of designing a course, consult Dr. Ambast for teaching
Yes, sir.
access research in the field, documentation and
Sir.
problem solving. If it is problem is not solved, if you say there's a problem, the villagers know, we know the problem. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? No, I study. So what I get benefit out of your study. So
Yes, sir.
anyway, Dr. Rambas, बहुत अच्छा आपने समझाया, बहुत खुशी हुई, and they can consider if a short courses on access research can be designed. Is a very important. And this access research, there is another one, participatory access research, where the people are with you.
Yes.
They participate in problem solving. So they are co-author in this access research. Yeah. Thank you. I'll take leave now.
Thank you.
That is very wise advice.
धन्यवाद.
Professor SB. Professor S.B. Rai, sir, just 1 minute. Thank you for suggesting to design a course with Professor N.K. Ambas, sir, on the action anthropology. Because his country's
Not action
foremost.
anthropology. He mentioned action research.
Yeah, action research.
Yeah.
Because we are anthropologists, how
Because
this action research is taking place.
is a transdisciplinary, please remember. And anthropology is really transdisciplinary. Many disciplines has come together, converge the knowledge, right from Malinowski, biological science, political science, economics, mathematician, geographer, statistician. This is a convergence of knowledge, transdiscipline. Yeah. As a student, I enjoy study, but I'm not teaching, so I don't claim myself as an anthropologist. I enjoy and I consider it's a very good subject. Yeah, it's a very good subject.
Yeah, that will be very interesting if Professor M.K. Ambas sir is available for putting together some kind of modules and a course teaching. That will be great. It will benefit our student community and scholars out of his rich experience. Yeah, we will certainly explore it. And thank you for your valuable suggestion at the end of your presentation, sir. Thank you so much, Professor S.B. Rai.
I can see one Dr. Sinha and Gajalolu, Srimalu, the two are there. So thank
Yes,
them.
sir.
And I'll take leave now. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
then. Good night. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, from translating the vision of the Anthropological Association for Humankind into reality, the first step we have taken is to launch this virtual institute, International Institute of Anthropological Applications. The first course designed is with Professor S.B. Roy, sir, on digital ethnography and for sustainable tribal development. And we have seen until now how this scaled up throughout the country and came into different forms of courses and adapted different universities and departments of the government in different levels and capacities. So the other course we have facilitated is with the Professor P.D. Satyapal Kumar sir regarding this Dr. Ambedkar and the agenda for nation building. So the 14 lecture series course was offered, and which was a very rich learning experience, how Ambedkar was trained in anthropology and how his anthropological insights and deeper understanding of Indian society and other world, the civilizations helped him to put together a constitution, which is very giving a practical vision for the country to run its governments and judiciary and executive, and how all these things really Ambedkar's anthropological training, how it really practically impacted the nation in the nation building process. It was a very wonderful course, and many people appreciated it, and still hundreds of people watching on the YouTubes. So, and the third course that we are thinking of is with Dr. The upcoming 2 courses are coming up very soon. So with Dr. Sirajuddin Garu, let me read the topic at least, and also some brief points that course is going to offer. Yeah, so he's planning to offer 2 to 3 workshops in recent trends, approaches, and applications of new methods in preparation of project proposals, monitoring and evaluation methodology of community development projects as being adopted now in World Bank, UNDP, UNICEF, and UN's HCR and ADB and USAID, etc. And the workshop will involve how to prepare project SWOT analysis and defining indicators and variables, and preparation of a time Gantt chart, and a preparation of a log frame, results-based outcome, and management approaches. So this is the course that is going to come up very soon. Now he's based at Australia, and that's why once he will return, and after that he will start his offering the courses virtually through our IIAA, International Institute of Anthropological Applications. Another course is coming up, the anthropology and data science. 2 scholars, one scholar is the HOD at in USA for data scientist, data science, and also another person called Dr. Vijay Kumar is also a senior data scientist at a GSM company, MNC. So these 2 people are putting together a course and they are both working for many years on data science, providing leadership for the companies in the data science sphere. So they're going to give many special trainings in software programs, and how anthropology perspectives, how this data science is used in different companies in advancing their businesses and in different sectors. All those things. A very rich course is going to be offered through this International Institute of Anthropological Applications. So these 2 courses are very valuable and job-oriented. High-paying jobs are available for these courses, kind of thing. So how anthropologists are making advances in these areas, and those experiences and project training, how it is going to be helpful. So these courses will really help us. And regarding this international institute, we are also we had one event called National Applied Anthropology Congress in collaboration with the American Corner and the Department of Anthropology, Andhra University, in 2021 December. So that was really amazing. And Professor Arjun Appadurai delivered his keynote speech, and the Vice Chancellor Prasad Reddy Garu, he delivered his speech. So all those things are getting ready for publication, and the conference proceedings are getting ready for publication. And also this Anthropological Association for Humankind is getting ready to organize the World Applied Anthropology Congress in collaboration with the Department of Anthropology, University of Kansas, and IPSR, Institute of Policy Research and Social Policy and Social Research, IPSR, and with other international and national collaborating institutions. So we have a wonderful governing council and the advisory council who are really helping us in connecting the worldwide scholars, and we have already received considerable number of abstracts, and those abstracts are already being reviewed by the review committee, and so things are going to be in place, and yeah, and yeah, with this brief events, what Anthropological Association for Humankind is able to do in these 2 years of time span, and how this vision and mission is made into reality little by little in an incremental basis, with the immense support from the governing council and advisory council. And we want to explore more actually in addressing the real world problems. So we are looking for some research projects, also international funded research projects. We want to collaborate with the international reputed institutions and professors, so that our organization will really make advances. Issue-based research, issue-based anthropological research, in addressing the corruption and in addressing the health issues and tribal and mainland issues and urban issues. So anthropology, how it can really make governments deliver good governance and pro people and pro poor policies effectively. And also some governments are investing huge budgets on education, and how these educational anthropologists can really make a positive difference. For example, our president, Professor V. Narayan Reddy Garu, served at the university, SV University, as professor, and also founding registrar for Vikram Simhapuri University in Andhra Pradesh. With his anthropology rich academic background, how he is able to make difference at the education department. For example, Andhra Pradesh commission for school education, evaluating and monitoring commission. So in that, he is really providing anthropology insights and making differences. And also Professor N.K. Ambassador has rich experience in serving at the national level, particularly in education sector, how he is advising at to the parliament in providing leadership to the country in setting the practical anthropological, by providing practical anthropological solutions to the educational needs of the country, particularly as the chairman of the Open School, National Open School, and at many different key roles in the parliamentary committees, kind of thing. So, yeah. So I request Professor N. K. Ambassador to share his a few experiences, how as an anthropologist was really successful, implementing his innovations and made difference at the country level.
Well, thank you. I would start with my foray in action research in the mid 70s, when non-formal education came into being as a alternative method of educating people, and where literacy level was very low. So I was in the pioneering team in India for addressing this problem for out of school children in the elementary stage. And we initially started with that we want to bring them back into the school. So we planned accordingly, and some kind of remedial program and using the school textbooks was the initial step. But as I said, in action research, when you plan and you see whether the thing is working or not, then if it is not working, then you modify according to the needs. So I found personally that the children were involved in economic activity because of the extreme poverty in different locations of India. There was one tribal location in Chota Udaipur in Gujarat. There was one location in a hilly area, that is near Nainital. There was one area in a Musahar community. You know Musahars, the mouse eaters. That I was doing. So I had to analyze the curriculum into various kind of skills that it imparts. And then we had to plan the activity along with some kind of economic return every day, so that the children who were assisting the family with the economic activity, if they were brought to that kind of center, they would earn while you learn. So we brought the concept of earn while you learn and built into the program. And in each area, the program was different, but the learning outcome were the same. That is, you will be able to read and write simple sentence. These are the kinds of things. But in every place, it was like different. I'll give you one example. A place called Bariyarpur had Musahar community who were working on as a stone breakers for making roads. And they had children who were also either engaged there or were just sitting around and playing if they were too small. And I went there and I saw that these are the children that I need to work with. The problem was that there was no indigenous or what you call the traditional occupation of that particular community. They were Musahars. First thing is that Musahars, they eat mouse if they can catch one. And abject poverty. So I thought that if these children are to be engaged, let us find out what is the local economic need of the local community's need. And I found that in that area, I was really very, very flabbergasted in the sense that there was hardly anything which you can say agriculture or this kind of activity. So I thought I went around in the local market and I found that paper bags in which you put rice and things and weigh and give half kilo size, put 1 kilo size. So I thought I would start with that. So I bought 1 kilo of newspaper, old newspaper, brought to my center, and I also brought some paper bags, containers, 1 kilo size, half kilo size, and opened it because it was pasted. I opened it and told children that well, we have to make paper bags. So why don't we start doing it? So I kept this as a stencil, gave them a pencil, a scale to mark the outline and cut it. Now, some children did it in the center of the newspaper. The result was that the rest was wasted. So we discussed. And then said, if you start from one end of the newspaper, you can make 3 out of it. So they started doing. Then the stencil that, the opened, standard opened, the paper bags that I had brought from the market, we had opened it. So that got mutilated. And purposefully, I got it mutilated. Then I told them, look, every time you can't get it. So let us have a measuring scale. So I brought in a 12-inch scale and they started measuring and without knowing the number. They only knew this from this point to this point. Then I made them and look, this kind of symbol is 1, this kind of symbol is 12. So you remember the symbol and measure it without the stencil. So they learned 1 and 12 before they learned 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Slowly and gradually, the system was brought in. And they made paper bags. Paper bags were sold in the market at that time. I'm talking about early 70s for 50 paisa per 100. And that money was brought in and given to the children that all right, it is yours earning out of this. Then I diversified into candle making. Got the block development officer, industries officer to allocate 5 kilos of wax to us. And then I had taken one mold from here, Delhi, and we started making candles. So from this work, I introduced learning, reading, and writing. So the order was different. 1, 2, 3 instead of 1 and 12 first, and then seeing the figure of 2 and then learning that way. The NCERT, when I discussed this project and we started doing, the Puritans in the education department started saying, no, you are going with the words without going to alphabets. You are going to 12 before knowing 3 and 8 and 7 and 6, single digit, double digit. I said, well, these concepts will be brought in later. But initially, we are trying to make the child earn and learn. Earn while you learn. So these are the kinds of experiments that we did. And actually, we are credited with being the pioneers of non-formal education for out-of-school children. And once they got into this, the trajectory of their progress in the formal sector was much better. After about 5-6 months' time, Many of these passed class 3, which they would have taken 3 years, they took 6 months, because otherwise they were matured. What they were lacking was the skill of reading and writing, that is transcripting the thought or transcripting the language that they were speaking into a written form. Similarly, operating the mathematics, they didn't learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 2 plus 2 is 4. They learned from the whole, and then the analytical method. From there they came back to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 sequence. So these are the kinds of things that we manipulated, and we were criticized very much for by the Puritans in the education department. But our experiments were very successful, and it caught attention not only of the people in education, but also the media. Media gave a very wide coverage. They ran a supplement there that is known as Bhumyadhar experiments. And that also caught the attention not only of UNESCO, but also the UN headquarters. So they deputed one lady, Mrs. Karnukan, who was walking on crutches, to come to India and study this. So she came, I took her to one place where we were, another craft we had introduced somewhere, which was the carpet making. So then they were working on the looms, 3 red, 4 white, and the Tana and Bana, So design was, they were made to understand and write their design. 3 Tana, red, 3 Tana, white, 3 Tana. So they would write Tana before learning it. They similarly 3 and 4. So they would. I told them that you have to keep a record, because if you have to make the same carpet again, you have to do it. And the loom was also improvised. It was 4 small pillars, and on them the frame was, we put nails and make frames, and vertical nails were put to run like this and another like this. And on that design was a design we made, and then painted the block, and they were made to count 3 red, 4 green, 2 blue. So they started doing it, and then encoding. They themselves would keep the coded version, and so that they make a replication. So the order of what I'm trying to emphasize is that in this kind of experiment that we did, we broke the rule of that one has to learn 1, 2, 3, 4. It started from 3. All right, from this distance to this distance, this is 3. Please write down 3 like this. So oral arithmetic they understood, but writing it was functional. So they could write 3 before, but couldn't write 2, because they were not using 2 at that time. Slowly and gradually it came. So these are the kind of things, work education through work process. Similarly, I was doing another project on preparing textbook in Santali, primers. So, you have to from familiar to unfamiliar. So what I did was, in those days, there was hardly any electronic gadget except a tape recorder. So I went with a tape recorder to Santhal Pargana. He was talking about Sidhu Kano University just now. In that area, and sat in a village where children were playing, I just switched on the tape recorder. And whatever they were singing, talking, abusing each other, that was recorded. I came back to NCRT, transcribed those spoken words, then tried to, this was a repertory of spoken, understood vocabulary of the children of the relevant age group. So if I write those words and they are able to articulate, they will know the meaning of it, right? So now when I sat with the linguists here, they said that you have to have without matras, jala, jala, kala, this is then a ki matra, then e ki matra, then that. So you have to arrange that. So we had to arrange this in a manner that the word that they have spoken is comprehended by them. So if my textbook has those words, then comprehension will not be a problem. Only the recognition of the shape or the figures or the alphabets, these are the problem areas. So we try to prepare primer in that manner. And that was a very, very, I would say, very difficult one. So it took 3 years time for me to prepare a primer in Santali. The last one line. The controversy arose that Santali is spoken in Bengal, in some parts of Jharkhand, and also in some parts of Odisha. Which script are you going to use? So that is that. What these are some of the kind of problems that where I have to use anthropological techniques for education. So that is the, I mean, there are so many other aspects where anthropological methodology was brought into education system. So field-based research, going to the people, and for example, participatory research and observation. These are the standard methodology of anthropological studies. I would say how I used this. I went to a school. The teacher was very enthusiastic and he was teaching the photosynthesis to class grade 5. So he had brought in a plant, in a gamla, in a flower pot, and he was telling this is green, this is where photosynthesis takes place because of chlorophyll, and it absorbs carbon dioxide and exudes oxygen, etc., etc. I was sitting on the back of the class, and then he asked one boy and asked all questions, and he said, beautifully answered everything. He told that how photosynthesis takes place, how carbon dioxide is absorbed, how, and ultimately the moral that we should keep we should not harm the vegetation. And so I was very happy that, well, this is a very good class. The teacher was there demonstrating and making the child understand that this is leaf and this is stem and this and this does this function, etc. And the final bell rang. And that very same child who was so brightly, who answered all the questions, he went out and plucked a flower plant and made it and started crying. Now, this set me thinking that, well, education, this boy was academically 100% correct, very bright, but in his behavior, he did just the opposite of what he was being taught. So the present day, I mean, this 2020 NEP, this is being reflected. I wrote very strongly on that in those times. It must be in mid 95, something around 1995. That behavior modification must be must take center stage in every education. And even today, I said that the expected learning outcome, which determines the classroom or the textbook, the examination is expected learning outcome based, testing what you are expected to learn. This must yield place to expected behavioral outcome, how your behavior is being modified. Because learning textbook is no more the only source of education. There are so many Google and so many other platforms from where you are now learning. So it is not possible, and it should not be possible. It should not be advocated that testing remains only based on learning. Learning can be forgotten, but if you modify the behavior, the learning behavior, how to acquire knowledge. If we, instead of acquiring knowledge, how to acquire knowledge. If that becomes center stage, then it is going to make a lot of difference. So I have been sort of conversing with the NCRT and other organizations, but the major problem is that the examination boards are not equipped with testing the learning outcomes, are testing the behavioral outcomes, because that is a continuous process right from beginning of the class for the year, how your behavior is being observed. And that may be, I mean, it may happen that is because of the teacher's prejudice or teacher's favor. These are the problems that that may come. But ultimately, one has to go to this behavioral modification, because now there are myriad ways of learning. Not only the classroom, not only the textbook, but there are so many other sources. So and knowledge is exploding every day. Every day something is happening. So my concern, my lament at this moment is how to modify examination system with you see, every day there is every state there is copying, nakal, even in recruitment process, and people are being caught at this thing. I would, if I were the one, I would give, all right, these are the 2,000 questions that will come. But each one of you will not get the same question paper with no repetition. I have a device for that. Remember, I mean, computer device. Each will be individualized. So you go and take, you type your number, you will get a customized question paper. And I go simultaneously, I type my number, I will get a different question paper. So how are you going to leak? How are you going to copy? So this is the system that I am on-demand examination system. On-demand examination. Any day, any time you go, you type your number on your computer and you will get a question paper. And the design, etc., there is no time for this to discuss here, to tell you in that detail, but design can be done. It's a simple thing. If you have, say, you have a set of 1,000 questions in one subject, let us assume that, which is put into grades of simple, medium difficulty, strong difficulty. I mean, we have kab, kaun, kahan, when, who, and where. These are simple type questions. Kya, kyun, kaise, what, why, and how. These are difficult order questions. So if I say I take one subject, say let's say we take geography, and make simple sentence, simple 1,000 questions, and graded into this kind of grid. And the computer is programmed that you pick 50 questions out of this 1,000 from each grid, 2 or 3, and generate a paper. Simultaneously, the answer is also in a parallel. So the moment the question is generated, answer is also generated, but it's a secret. It is not yet divulged. It has a lock-in period of about, say, 2, 3, 4 days, whatever you want to keep. So if you have 1,000 questions and you want a set of 50 questions, which is tick mark, short answer question, long answer question, these are all the kinds of grids that we make. Then 1,000 C50 is the possible number of question paper that can be generated. So 1,000 C50 is what? 1,000 multiplied by 999 multiplied by 998, 98, etc. until 1,000 multiplied by 50 divided by 50 into 49 into 49 this side. So it comes out 2 into 10 raised power 36 section questions sets can be generated. Yani after 2 you write 36 zeros. So that is the possibility, and the possibility of repetition also I got worked out was 2%. So if you have a 50 question 50, only one question paper can be repeated in them. So this kind of a methodology and approach I had worked out, and it is available, partly being implemented also. Some logistical problems are there with regard to place where it will be done, etc., etc. But it is in operation. So you see, the entire thing in education is going a sea change. And like SAT examination, you have SAT examination or other, I mean, even NEET, etc., could use it. This copying, etc., will be eliminated, all those things. But I don't know whether in my lifetime it will happen or not. I'm trying to advocate this at various fora. But you see, the systems, the major threat is if this happens, what will happen? CBSE do? What will other boards of examination do? And their only existence, their existence is threatened because everything is computer generated, computer evaluated, computer. So national testing agency, etc., might be there, but with the boards will lose their significance. And it is happening. You see, CUET, Common University Entrance Testing, NEET. These all functions are being taken away. So what? Even if you get a 3rd division board examination, but you compete in CUET, you will get into your admission in St. Stephen's in Delhi. So these are how the examination is, or the significance of your matriculation examination is losing sheen, is a writing on the wall. So this is, you see, when you start looking at application part of it, education and its application part of it, which is a higher order challenge or a higher order test, then you say, I'll give you example. It's very, very simple example. The answer of all the questions that I posed before you would be one. The answer would be gravitation. Newton saw an apple falling and he propounded a law. What is that? A man falls from the roof of a building. Why did he fall? You throw a stone upwards, and after some time it starts falling. Why? These are simple questions. The same, the moon revolves around the sun. What is why doesn't it crash into? Again, the answer is gravitational pull of Earth and celestial bodies, sun. Answer is the same, but the order of question and the thinking is going on. I mean, from simple to hard. So this is the kind of grid that needs to be made. So you could discriminate lower order achievers, middle order achievers, high order achievers. Application part is the high order. So that's it, sir. Thank you for listening to me. It may not be very interesting to anthropologists, but I see, because I see these things happening. Among the tribal societies, they are very wise, except that they lack the skill of reading and writing. Otherwise, educationally, they know how to, in various conditions, in various weather, in various seasons, what to sow, how to sow, and how to reap, and how to operate in the environment that one is living. This is education, nothing else but education. But they are getting it by traditional, by one last point. There was a move to build Pakka primary schools in tribal areas, and I visited some. They had one door, no windows, etc., etc. So it was almost dark. The block development officer had built that. So I told him, look, this child who is born in the midst of nature, he spends all his time, all his waking time in the nature. And we are putting him into a confined room with nowhere to see outside, purposely because we don't want distraction. So what are we doing? We are pushing this child out of the school because his environmental growth, his living style is all in the open nature. And you are obstructing his views. He is not able to feel the air. He is not able to see the tree, the sun, the birds around. So to my mind, in the tribal areas, if you are building a school, you must build enough windows, enough doors, so that the child can see, enjoy, and may not be pushed out of school because it is a confined space. So these are some of the things. You see, this is applied anthropology. Your way of life is living in nature, with open air, with this, and you are asking them to be in a very suffocating closed room. So that is that, sir. Thank you very much. I am through, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor N.K. Ambassador, for your sharing your rich experiences, how you made a difference in tribals' lives, particularly for them to acquire the literacy skills and the competencies in a more practical and adaptable and convenient ways, so that earn and learn program and a positive behavioral modification, which is a missing link in the education system, Those are the very powerful thing, and also contextualizing the academic system and the construction of the buildings in the tribal culture, so that they will not feel isolated or strange. All these applications of cultural knowledge to impact them, and at the same time to make the important lessons of education easier for the tribals. This is a very practical and wisdom which can really um, uh, which made already positive differences, and also addressing the examination system, and what are the alternative measures suggested and implemented. All these things are very rich, and thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your applied anthropological experiences on the occasion of second anniversary of Anthropological Association for Humankind. Yeah, and we really request your inputs at the World Applied Anthropology Congress as well, sir, and kindly propose a lecture or a kind of a panel, or particularly on educational anthropology. That will be a very important thing. How your legacy at the national level really made a difference. That will really send a message to the world, particularly educational anthropologists who are looking into that. And also, you made a very remarkable, important point, behavior modification and how to measure it. And that is the missing link. The current education system has not yet developed the how measuring stick for positive behavioral modification. That really, if you can really put together some thoughts and cast your vision.
Sorry. Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute. I can give an extempore lecture.
Oh,
But
yeah,
if you
wonderful.
want me to write because of my eyesight and this,
Yeah. No
so
problem, no problem, sir.
if you plan in your Kansas
Yes.
a lecture by me on this,
Yeah.
then that could be possible.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Yeah, our president is here, so that will be great. At a national level, leadership, how these wonderful insights and applications really made difference in the policy bodies, and also your contribution at the parliamentary committees and internationally representing the country. All those things will really interesting experiences, because this is a lived legacy and experiences which really practically implemented at the country level. And these things are really important and remarkable, need to be heard at the world platform, particularly an applied anthropology, world applied anthropology platform. Yeah, this extempo lecture is, I think, I highly appreciated, sir, because of the age factor. Yeah, sure. Sir, we will plan it, sir.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
My visa, I have a visa, already a visa, so no problem.
Oh, okay. Your health permits to travel internationally?
Yes.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's let us see. We are trying. Yeah, in fact, our team in the US, they have applied for some grants and rising, connecting.
It's okay. I mean, I'm available. Other things are with you. If you can manage, fine. No problem.
This
From my side, it's okay.
Yeah, if this financial we are in the process of contacting our NRI friends and associations and some foundations to raising funds to sponsor some scholars and the travel, food, accommodation expenses of the conference. We are in that process. If we are successfully able to raise the required funds, I think that should not be a problem to cover your travel and accommodation. And if we fail to meet the financial funds required, I think we will go virtually.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, so we will try our best, sir, and see what can happen. And we are in the our team there in US trying, they're doing their best to contact people, individuals and foundations, see how the funds. This is our first time internationally organizing an event. Really, lot of discussions.
Yes, I can understand. No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind in the last minute we propose. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, we will put, if you can come up with the topic, and I think we will put on the website. And also, yeah, that will be
You can say
topic of your
anthropology,
presentation. Topic of your talk.
educational anthropology. You can say anthropology as applied in education.
Oh, yeah, okay. From Indian experience, a
Yeah,
case from India. Mhm. That's interesting. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. So, yeah, I request our president, Professor V. Narayan Reddy Garu, to share his closing remarks. And yeah. Sir, unmute. Let me unmute your mic. Sir, Professor Narayan Reddy Garu, please unmute your mic.
Okay.
Yes, now audible, sir.
We are very much grateful and thankful to Professor Raiji and Professor Ambasji and other participants who have accepted and participated in today's second anniversary, on the occasion of the second anniversary day. But anyway, it is a really a great day for Anthropological Association for Humankind, and we are really happy about the two experiences that are shared by Professor Ambasdi and Professor Raiji for their well experienced and very good inputs they have made, and we are really very happy, sir. And we will do our best, sir, to invite you physically to US.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you have given your consent, sir. We are very, very happy, and we will work out on that. And we hope from Indian side, many more scholars would attend. That would be the very nice idea. Anyway, and we are thankful to particularly our General Secretary, Dr. Gadde, who has done relentlessly developing this organization, particularly individually and even team-wise also. He is a really asset for us, sir. And I'm personally and as a president grateful to him particularly, and grateful to all the scholars, senior scholars, and the youngsters and other important scholars also who have participated. Again, once again, we are very much thankful to our US team, sir, who are doing wonderful work at the US for making this arrangements both academically and otherwise also. And we are particularly Dr. Ravindranath Garu, Professor Ravindranath Garu, and and his team. Very relentlessly they are working. We are very happy, sir. Once again, I am thankful to each and everybody who had participated today, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. And we always require your blessings to develop this organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Yeah, with this small beginning, and we are looking forward to accomplish big things at the national level, at the international level. And we look to God for his blessings and cooperation from people and from worldwide scholars and success stories. And we want to learn from the ground, from the worldwide incidences. Yeah. So let us see how things will take. Yeah, I wish all our the governing council members and honorable governing council members and advisory council members, the wonderful team, and let us all get united and do our best in our capacities, in our circles, to translate the vision of AAH into a wonderful reality, finally improving the human condition worldwide, so that world might be a most desiring place to live. So thank you so much. Thank you. This
Thank you.
meeting, thank you, our president, for providing the leadership for this
Thank you.
organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The